On this episode of That One Movie Podcast, Holden, we are finally taking a look at Saw X.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
Saw
goodness.
X. We will start off spoiler-free, of course, then we'll dive into spoilers. If you want to jump right to that review, which why wouldn't you, honestly?
Yeah. Who cares about everything else?
Yeah, just
The highlight of the week.
take a look at the time codes down in the description, scrub that play bar, and enjoy that discussion, which, of course, will be we will be so overjoyed to talk about Saw, as we are with every Saw movie at this point. Saw X.
Of course.
Check out that review. Again, starts off spoiler-free, then we'll dive into spoilers. We'll warn you beforehand. And before we do that, Holden, we got to talk about news from this week in the world of entertainment. What are some of our...
Don't forget, we're talking...
I was going to say that as well. What are some of the stories, Holden?
Okay, we've got... we'll be talking about the trailers for Wish and Argyle. We'll also be talking about the settled terms for the WGA since their strike just ended, and we'll also have an update on that Barney movie.
Oh, yeah, the Daniel Kaluuya
Yes.
Barney movie. I didn't forget, Holden. I was going to mention here.
Oh, okay.
After we talk about, nothing like talking about the podcast order non-chronologically.
Yeah, right.
But after our movie entertainment news talk, but before our review of Saw X.
Yes.
So we have two TV shows.
This is
going
like
on.
a Saw movie right here.
It is. It really is. That's the twist. Get Hello Zep playing. We're going to be talking about Ahsoka, episode 7, Dreams and Madness, I believe that one's called.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we are also going to be talking about the first 3 episodes that premiered for Gen V, of course, the Boys spinoff on Amazon Prime. We're excited to talk about those as well. But until then, I'm Jimmy Uthi.
I'm Holden Sutter.
And it's time for Tom.
Tom.
That One Movie Podcast.
Tom.
Jimmy, before we talk Saw X, let's do the Toms.
Let's do the Toms.
The Toms. Toms is the rapid fire segment in which we rate the news of the week in the world of entertainment on a scale of 3 famous Toms: Brokaw, Bombadil, and Bergeron. Brokaw's the highest, Bombadil's the lowest, and Bergeron is somewhere in between. Jimmy?
That wasn't the worst fail of my life. With those
See
fears
that?
for the
That's
audio.
like that is maybe the cleanest I've ever said that. If you had gotten that right, that
And
would
I
have been
would see
perfect.
if you would have said that last week, and I did what I did last week, we would have gotten it perfect.
Yeah.
So now we just got to combine them.
We'll get there eventually. I keep
This-
thinking it's going to happen.
What
Maybe
it-
we're overthinking it.
What an atrocious start to this podcast! All over the place.
But first off, Jimmy, let's talk about some trailers. We've got one for Wish, the new Disney animated musical film. What'd you think of this?
I wish I was more excited. I'm at a Bergeron.
Yeah.
They seem to be attacking the nature of God, Holden.
It's
All these wishes. Aren't you going to answer all of them? No, I won't answer most of them.
my
I choose which ones I answer because I am God. I'm a metaphor for God.
well, granted, like we don't know the full conflict based on this trailer, but I'm kind of like, wouldn't the king be right? Like if you just granted everyone's wish, that'd be like chaos.
Yeah. Doesn't Bruce Almighty figure that one out?
Yeah,
pretty soon?
something like that.
Yeah, he like grants everybody wishes, and then it's like chaos.
So I'm sure there's more to it than that, but as of right now, I'm just like, I don't know. It seems like he's probably got his system down. He's probably thinks it through. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's gonna just turn out to be evil regardless.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's very clearly evil from the movie or the trailer.
Yeah. So
It's got kind of interesting animation style. It's like,
is it that interesting?
yeah, it's not. It's clearly like normal Disney 3D animation, but I don't know.
Popped on a Spider-Verse filter.
It kinda
and
looks
set it
like
to
a filter. It's
like
probably
10%,
not.
like
Yeah.
10% Spider-Verse on
Yeah.
a Disney animated movie.
It makes it look a little different, but it's not unique enough
Not
to
like
really
Puss
get
in
me.
Boots.
Yeah, not like Puss in Boots.
The Last Switch.
I mean, I'm always excited for like new musicals. I love musical music, so that'll be fun. But aside from that, I don't really care.
Puss in Boots 2 could have worked as the Wish movie
Yeah,
because it was
And
about
the
wishes.
Last Wish.
The Last Wish.
Yeah,
There's no way this is as good as Puss in
No,
Boots.
there's no way.
It could be. I mean, look, we haven't
sure it'll
seen
be
it. I
fine.
like the concept of it, but inevitably the bad guy's just going to turn out to be just more evil than he needs to be in order to make our protagonist look better.
Well, I remember like when stuff first started, and we might have even talked about it on the podcast, when stuff was started coming out for this movie, like a lot of the early stuff was just focusing about how we finally have a Disney villain again that's just evil for the sake of being, because like people really like the Disney Renaissance villains, you know, your Scars, your Ursulas, you know. And so people were thinking this would be a return to that kind of thing, but I don't know. It just kind of seems like another modern Disney villain from the trailer. We'll see.
I don't know.
Chris Pine.
Yeah. Chris Pinecone.
Chris Pinecone.
Chris Pine, shout out to him in Pinocchio.
Oh, yeah, God. Forgot about that. Alan Tudyk voicing another animal character, except this time he actually talks.
Oh, that's Alan Tudyk. For some reason I was thinking he was Sir Patrick Stewart.
Well, he's doing like Alan Tudyk voices Clayface in Harley Quinn as well, and it's
Okay.
like the exact same voice.
Okay.
I heard that, I'm like, that's Alan Tudyk. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm at Bergeron alongside you, Jimmy.
Yeah. There we go. Bergeron. What an enthralling conversation. When does this one come out? Thanksgiving?
Yeah, end of November.
Nothing like a better time to ask for things that you want than Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
all about you.
Year after Strange World. Remember that movie?
Never saw it.
Yeah, we never did. No, I don't think anyone did, to be fair.
Not going to show it in my classroom, that's for sure. Jeez.
Next trailer we have is Argyle.
Argyle, Holden. Not the pattern, but kind of.
Yeah.
This is wild. This is like all over the place.
Yeah,
Argyle.
it's a weird trailer. I didn't hear anything about it prior to the trailer coming out.
No.
It was just kind of this wild thing that came out of nowhere. Matthew Vaughn directing, who's directed the Kingsman movies and Kick-Ass and other movies.
And other movies.
Other movies.
Oh.
What'd you think of the trailer?
I thought it reminded me of, was it the Lost City?
Yeah,
Was
that's what I was thinking too. Lost
with
City.
Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt and Daniel Radcliffe. Never saw
Channing
Tatum.
Yeah, I think. Daniel Radcliffe was also in that movie, I think.
Is it all of them?
I
I think Brad Pitt's also in that movie.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
I'm pretty
so
sure all four of them are in it. I think Daniel Radcliffe's the villain.
It kind
also
of
haven't seen it.
It kind of reminds me of that just from like the trailer of like, oh, it's the
concept,
writer
yeah.
and then it's that, but it's like up to the 11, up to 11.
Insane.
Because it's just like, it seems to be about that, like this Agent Argyle or whatever, who is Henry Cavill with what a haircut.
Yeah,
on
that is
man.
a horrible haircut.
And then John Cena is also in this, but it turns out
Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa. Turns out they like it's this crazy stuff, and then it's actually this lady's just writing this action series. But then turns out that the action series is like a prophecy for what actually happens,
Yeah,
and there
so
actually is an Agent Argyle. So like you need to write the next chapter of this book to determine what happens or something.
Yeah, you got so
Wild like that. And then there's a cat in an Argyle pattern, like bubble backpack things that they have cats in.
Yeah, main character's Bryce Dallas Howard, but then you've also got Sam Rockwell, you've got Bryan Cranston, Samuel L. Jackson, Catherine O'Hara, others. It's a very star-studded cast.
Very star-studded.
I don't know. It looks kind of fun. I mean, some of the action sequences looked like Bullet Train-esque, I'd say.
Yeah.
Or I guess
Kingsman.
Yeah,
I was like, there's a more obvious one here.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to Apple. I don't know if it's going straight to Apple TV Plus, but it said that was the studio. So
I mean, it piqued my interest, so I'll give it a Brokaw. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not convinced it's going to be amazing, but I'm like, that seems very odd and interesting potentially.
Considering
I'm not a huge fan of. I haven't seen Kingsman 2, but Kingsman the first one, I think is all right.
I like Kingsman 1. Kingsman 2 is, I don't remember liking it that much, but I'll give it a Brokaw. Yeah. For a movie that I'd never heard of, it was very interesting. So we'll see. Maybe we'll watch it. Maybe we won't. No promises.
No promises. We don't make promises here.
We don't. Unlike last week where we said we were going to rank the Saw movies and we didn't.
That's why we don't make them anymore.
Yeah. We're from this point forward, no promises.
But we do promise we will rank them today.
Yes.
Which we didn't mention earlier.
Yeah.
There you
But next up for news, unfortunately, Michael Gambon passed away this week. Most well known, especially for our generation, of playing Albus Dumbledore, post Chamber of Secrets from Prisoner of Azkaban on. He's also well known for the movies The King's Speech and Gosford Park, which I've never seen either. But and then he was also a frequent stage actor, including many Shakespeare productions. He was knighted by the Queen, so he is actually, I should have said Sir Michael Gambon.
Sir Michael Gambon.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with anything he's been in aside from Harry Potter, but he's great as Dumbledore.
Yeah, I think
really like him.
I think he works better as Dumbledore for me. I just cannot see the original actor playing that role in 3 through 8 like he does, especially like Order of the Phoenix on.
Yeah.
Where I feel like the character really evolves, or you find out so much more about like this kind of the other side of Dumbledore, not like this perfect Obi-Wan-esque, the hero of 1,000 faces or whatever it is, the Joseph Campbell or whatever his name is, like that archetype for the old master character, the teacher. I feel like J.K. Rowling challenges a lot of that in the later books, and I think that the kind of dark nature he brought to that character, but also like philosophical side, I think he has a very nuanced performance there. Except when he freaks out at Harry in the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Dumbledore said calmly. I like the first Dumbledore in the first 2 movies. I think he works for those 2, but given the situation with that and everything, I think obviously Michael Gambon works really well in 3 through 8. He is probably my favorite of the 2. But yeah, he's just fantastic. I think it's sad that he's gone.
Yeah. Brokaw definitely for that performance as Dumbledore.
Yeah.
He's the Dumbledore I think of it right away.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Not Jude Law.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Next up. So last week we talked about how the WGA, the Writers Guild of America strike was ending, and it has officially ended as of this week. The guild voted to
replace everyone with robots.
Yes, exactly. But I just wanted to kind of go through some the terms that were settled. This is like I'm not going into specifics here because I'm not an expert on it. But so if you want to know exactly like numbers and everything, you can go look that up yourself. First off, they will in general be getting a 12.5% pay increase over 3 years.
Okay,
sounds cool. Increase in foreign streaming residuals. There's going to be viewership-based bonuses on streaming services. Writers are going to have full access to like streaming numbers, but it will remain confidential, so public still won't have those. But I think that's pretty big.
Look how many times people watch Red Notice.
Yeah. I think that's nice.
Heart of Stone.
Yeah. How many people have watched Heart of Stone? Probably not very many. Full seasons of TV shows are going to be coming with at least 20 weeks of guaranteed paid work. So that's nice. And then the big other thing, in addition to the pay, was the AI stuff. And it was settled that AI is not going to be able to write material on its own. It may be used as writers as a tool, but studios cannot make it mandatory. And studios also must inform if any provided material contains AI content. So, I mean,
nice.
in terms of the writer side of things, that seems like a big win across the board from my limited scope.
Yeah. I'm sure they didn't get all their terms met, but
no, I know
certainly, I mean, clearly is a better situation than what they were in, especially with like the streaming services stuff, which was just not really accounted for at all, is my understanding.
I know like the pay increase, I'm pretty sure they had asked for like a few percentage points higher than that, but so they conceded in some ways, but they evidently did end up in quite a bit better position, I think.
Well, yay. Brokaw, they got it resolved. Again, outside looking in, I have no idea. If it's bad, then it's bad. Then I rescind it. With more information, but with the limited information that I have.
From limited information, I would guess that if they voted to, approve it, it's at least somewhat good,
Yeah, an improvement.
Yeah, an improvement.
There we go.
And another piece of that I just wanted to add on was that studios have like revealed the major projects that they're now like prioritizing, like getting on right away. Now that the writer like for writing, and that includes
Fantastic Beasts 4.
Yes, obviously that's the top priority. No, Fast and Furious 11, Stranger Things season 5, Wednesday season 2, and The Batman 2 are among those immediately starting.
All right.
So
Nice.
yeah,
I'm excited for some of those.
I'm excited for all but one of those. Take a guess. I won't say.
Wow.
I'll leave that for the viewers to I'll leave that up to interpretation.
Let's just say Olden's not a particular huge fan of A Day of a Week.
Yeah. But my next piece of news is about the Barney movie, and it's very cryptic. It's probably not something we can read too much into yet, but it was.
So let's do exactly that.
Yes, exactly. But the Mattel CEO had an update on the Barney movie, and this is his quote. He said, "It's too early to be specific, but I can tell you that we are taking a fresh approach that will be fun, entertaining, and culturally oriented. It will not be an odd movie."
What? That's disappointing.
Yeah.
I want it to be odd.
I don't know,
it.
like that's such a weird line. It will not be an odd movie. But yeah, I don't like. I'm hoping that like
It'll be a very normal, safe movie.
Yeah, I'm hoping when he said that in like he had something just completely like out there in mind. I don't know. I'm still hoping we're getting what was
Bombadil.
originally thought.
Bombadil.
Yeah, it's a Bombadil for me. If it's going to be a normal Barney movie, which means we won't talk about it probably because we didn't talk about Paw Patrol.
No, we didn't yet.
Yeah,
We have not yet.
And then the last piece of news I just have is that apparently House of the Dragon has wrapped filming, which I always forget it was still going, but like all the actors in that are like British and weren't part of the American Guild. So
Ryan Condal, I think, was part of the WGA though.
Yeah, so I guess they just weren't making rewrites.
No, they don't think they were on set, and he wasn't anyway.
All right, interesting.
So that'll be interesting.
But that means we'll probably be having some mid next year, I would guess. Right? Woo! So Brokaw, more House of the Dragon.
Speaking of House of the Dragon, our Ahsoka episode this week was directed by a House of the Dragon director,
really?
which we'll get into.
Okay.
So I've got some things to say about that. So Holden, shall we dive into our Ahsoka?
Yeah, Ahsoka
Review.
episode 7.
Ahsoka episode 7, Dreams and Madness.
Yes.
Ooh, is it as interesting as that sounds? Find out right after this.
Ahsoka episode 7, Dreams and Madness. Second to last episode of the series, season, whatever it is.
Penultimate, if you will.
Penultimate, yeah. We haven't done that bit in a while.
No.
I guess we haven't done too many TV shows recently, but what'd you think of this episode, Jimmy?
Okay, I do have notes, so I'll have to get out.
That's good.
One thing I will say is, look, I don't think like the writing of this episode was like amazing, but I think this episode is much better directed. Like I thought it was like night and day. The direction and pacing of this episode is so much better than a lot of the other episodes in this show. And I looked up the director because she only did one episode, and I've got to pull up her name. And I don't.
Vasant Patel?
Yes. I think it's Geeta.
Geeta.
Vasant.
Patel.
Geeta Patel. And she did Lord of the Tides episode of House of the Dragon, which is the highest rated one.
Okay.
With the, if you think of like the best moment of that show, it's in that episode and all that stuff. So that's obviously very well directed. I think this is very well directed. I don't think it's like a great episode. I just think like the making of it is like considerably an improvement over a lot of the other episodes. So I actually enjoyed this one more. I don't think it's without issues. But let me scroll down on all my X notes to get down there. I mean, we start off with like the military tribunal, I guess, of or Senate hearing or whatever of what's her name? Hera,
which was really boring
and not interesting. Well, okay, on paper I like this idea. This is one of those times where it's like nobody in real life is this like dumb. Like, I don't know, like I just like, it's just so simplified. It's like, you did this stuff without, proper orders. And she's like, well, yeah, but why, she's like, you need like proof before you do something you should know better if you're like a general. Mm-hmm. And the other guy is like, I don't know. It just seems like both sides are just dumb.
I just don't think this is, especially at this point, I don't think it's going to go anywhere interesting. Like, I don't really understand the point of this.
Well, it did go somewhere interesting, Holden, because C-3PO showed up. And then
I know that.
And then he's like, hey, Leia, Carrie Fisher, she's dead. But Leia.
But she sends her regards.
She sends her regards, and she says, you know what? I actually approve this. And then Mon Mothma's like, no, she didn't, but I'll let it pass.
Yeah,
and make this guy look like a total idiot, even though he's probably the most correct out of this, because no one has brought up like actually any relevant information and proof that Thrawn exists, which is like just dumb. Like, if he's that big of a threat, like, you need to like create an argument and
I guess
at least delegate that. Like, delegate, hey, Jason, my little kid, look up some stuff or something. I don't know.
I think the only place this subplot is going at this point,
I think it's already concluded. I honestly, she's going to show up, right?
Yeah, well, I do think for the most part it's done, but I'm guessing at the end of the next episode we're going to have Thrawn arrive in the the Star Wars main galaxy. And then we might have the Senate people be like, "That's Thrawn. Ooh. That's Thrawn. He's real. He's here."
Cornelius.
Which basically. I don't know. It's just there's like, you get C-3PO and a Leia name drop. That's like all you get out of the subplot. Otherwise, Hera has had like, as her whole storyline has been like pointless, because it like not even really Ahsoka or anyone seems to care.
Yes, she saved Ahsoka. I just like, Hera didn't need to be in this show.
No, it's entirely just another Rebels character just being in the show for the sake of her being in the show.
I have a whole thing that I am pitching later on about what this show could have been.
Okay. Maybe you should wait for next week.
I thought about it, but
maybe it'll turn into that next week.
Well, well, then I can at least predict, there's a certain arc.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, kind of ties into the next scene.
Okay.
Anakin has a little hologram cameo where he's like, hey, you got to fight those droids, but you also fight
General Grievous
and General Grievous and
Count Dooku.
Even Count Dooku. These names that you know these names. I'm Aiden Christensen.
Oh my gosh.
Here's my thing, Holden. When we talked about like, what is the lesson Anakin's supposed to be teaching Ahsoka in whatever episode 5 or whatever it was with all the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I think this could really work well for this show. Because the thing Anakin failed at is he prioritized his desires over that of the galaxy, and his inability to let go of Padme and to let fate like run its course with that caused so much pain in the entire galaxy, and literally the entire Republic fell apart and the Jedi Order collapsed and all that stuff. And here we have Sabine going to save Ezra, even though that means, I'm going to open the door for Thrawn to come back and the whole galaxy to be put in disarray. I think Sabine should be Ahsoka. Like, that should be Ahsoka's thing. And whether it's Ezra or whatever, whatever the storyline is. I don't know if that makes sense from a Rebel standpoint. But if we're going to have these Force interactions between Ahsoka and Anakin, I think it works so much better that Anakin can teach this message to Ahsoka that, hey, you need to let go of Ezra.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I failed to do. Like, I couldn't let go of Padme, and I became Darth Vader and all this. It consumed me going down this route, and this is your opportunity to learn from my mistakes. And that's what I feel like is missing from this. And I feel like that is the connection right now in these two story arcs. And maybe maybe Ahsoka has that conversation with Sabine. The problem for me is Ahsoka's already there. Like, Sabine, you shouldn't have done it. My problem is if like Sabine is just like, oh, gets away with it. Like, I just think that's so stupid. Like, oh, I'm going to just put the entire galaxy in jeopardy for my own selfish desires, which is, helping someone, but still like, cause I miss them.
Yeah.
Like, not like, oh, I miss them and I want to bring them back, but I'm totally okay doing that at the expense of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives and the entire New Republic, everybody who died in the rebellion to create this new Imperial Order. Like, that's just like, and if she just proves out to be like, oh, well, you know what? She was right the whole time. That was the good thing to do. I think that's just so dumb. I like dumb. That is like, just because you got away with such a terrible risk. Yeah, just very high risk, very low reward for the sake of the galaxy. And then Ahsoka will be like, well, you know what? You were actually right. That is the absolute worst ending to the show, in my opinion.
Watch
and
that
it could happen.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I think because they're like, she has a conversation in the episode previous to this one where she's like, oh, if only I had time with Sabine, she could have made the right choice. And Hu Yang's like, well, maybe she made the only choice she could have made, which stupid. That's you're a droid, no better than that.
Yeah.
I just could have made that. I think that's just doesn't make any sense. From my standpoint, I'm like, I have a hard time believing that, you know what, she was right all along. I should have just trusted her. Heck no. Shut that down. Absolutely not.
Please don't. That would, especially, I mean, as you said, it still doesn't make much sense given what like Anakin was imparting on Ahsoka, that like Sabine is the one going through this arc. But yeah, if they go through with that, that's just so contradictory to everything that's been taught to us. And I could see it going. Well, that's
exactly what Anakin Skywalker did too. Yeah. And then he turned into Darth Vader. So I'm like, cause effect. Cause effect. Like, I just think if you did that, I think that would be such a cool moment between Anakin and Ahsoka. And I think that just really would tie their characters together in a way that was very poetic and touching. And you get the redemption arc for Anakin. You literally get to see him do it as Hayden Christensen. It closes this relationship between Ahsoka and Anakin. And it's just like, I feel like that was the crux. So that could have been the emotional core of this story. Instead, it's this Ezra-Sabine relationship, which to us who have never seen Rebels,
doesn't mean anything. Really,
we don't sense that driving force behind it, and all we are really getting is she's bringing back Thrawn, who apparently is this just horrible threat to everybody else.
And like I am worried that they're gonna go that route we're worried about, because like when Ahsoka and Sabine reunite in this episode, there's no conflict between them, at least as far as I can remember. It's just Ahsoka and Sabine like smile at each other.
She's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you literally like sold us out to Thrawn and jeopardized everything in the galaxy, and that's completely fine."
So it would be, I don't know, it would be almost weirder for Ahsoka to like turn on Sabine in the next episode, but that's what they should do. I just feel like nothing is going to be like satisfying. I don't know, for them. I think they've written themselves into a position where nothing is really going to work, at least for me.
No,
in terms of their relationship.
It's not working.
No.
For me. That was my thought.
I like that thought. That's good.
I thought that was, I just like, wow, that scene was happening where Anakin was the cameo. I was like, this is the parallels of the storyline. Anakin chose this. It led to all these bad things. Ahsoka she's already there, but I think the journey would be getting there, and that could have been the season. And then you wouldn't need to have a Rebels 2.0. But we have it here, and people seem to like it. So
yeah, I guess.
The Dathomir sisters remind me of the Sisters of Fate. Hardcore. Like especially like their lasers, and there's 3 of them.
I could see that.
I have Balin's skull just continues to be the best part of the show.
Yeah, yes. We still don't know what he's doing.
No, we don't. But I don't even care.
Yeah,
like, the performance is great. His dialogue is just way better than everybody else's, except maybe Thrawn. and Ahsoka have pretty good dialogue. Hu Yang has pretty good dialogue too. But his performance is just incredible. Rest in peace, that actor. Because he has been phenomenal. Like they stand out.
Yeah.
And Lars Mikkelsen has been pretty good as Thrawn too. And Rosario Dawson, I think, has been very strong as well as Ahsoka. But yeah, he's just great. He just has a presence every time he's speaking. He's just he nails the dark Jedi. Like you just like
he does.
I kind of am rooting for him, you know. Like I just like this guy gets it. He gets it. Like he's like, yeah, you know, this history, it's all inevitable and all. And you're like, yeah, brother. Yeah, I'm voting for you in 2024.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like,
for the Dark Jedi.
I'm wondering. I'm sure they'll reveal his motivation in this next episode, but I'm like, I feel like they're not gonna kill him off.
I don't either. I don't think his story's done.
Which is like, then what are you gonna do?
I saw people saying they should recast him with the Rhaenyra's like bodyguard guy, knight guy.
Oh yeah,
other guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't remember the actor's name there, but
or the character.
He'd be good probably.
But yeah, I mean the actor here is phenomenal. Yeah, I agree though that I feel like his storyline, I like if it does close up next episode, that feels like it's rushing to an end. I feel like it's feeling like it's gonna be left like, oh, he's got more to do.
He parts ways with his apprentice.
He's like, go get him.
Yeah, go get him. You know,
go make your place in the new empire. I got bigger plans.
Yeah, I'm not about that. I liked that. It was just this little amicable split, and he's like, yeah, you clearly have different ambitions, and I don't want to weigh you down with what I want to do. You know, go do your thing.
He's like, yeah, you got it. Go kill him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Ahsoka arrives. You know, Ahsoka Tano. Looks like you're not dead after all, or whatever he says. Their duel is pretty very short and like not much to it, but I thought it was pretty cool. I thought the choreography was better for whatever reason than like all the other ones. It seemed a lot more like unique. It was like very vicious and like.
Well, it was a lot better than the other like lightsaber fight in this.
It looked
episode.
like they were actually trying to kill each other.
Yeah. Well, and it's fun too because like Ahsoka still like doesn't win. She like has to use Hu Yang as like a distraction to get away, essentially, to get past him. There wasn't much to it, but I was like, oh, this is kind of good. Yeah. That was great, and I liked the fact that like, you know what, I was gonna let her just do her own thing, but if you go, and she's kind of screwed, so I can't let you really interfere with this. You know, like you're ruining the moment, Ahsoka. It's supposed to be a cool like master apprentice moment. You're just kind of stepping on my toes here. I like that. Another note, I think the music's pretty good, honestly. I haven't really like noticed it.
I think it's been pretty good. Pacing is a lot better this episode, I said.
I agree with that, yeah.
And the other note I had is the Imperial gunships that they have. I'm like, nice, sell some toys of that. I've never seen those before. I don't know if they exist in other things.
Might be a Rebels thing, I don't know.
Got to sell that Lego set, you know?
Yeah, got to get the little Lego minifigures of the red tape stormtrooper
guys.
Gold face.
Gold face, man.
Gold finger.
Enoch.
Oh, yeah, Enoch.
I'm trying to think what else. So they have the whole confrontation, the whole like fire, and then they just don't because Ahsoka's like, or Ezra's like, hey, don't do that. Wait.
What if you take us prisoner?
Yeah. The blue contacts. I think I get it. His character has blue eyes in the show, in the animated show.
Very distracting.
Just let him have his normal eyes. I think it's very like, oh my gosh, those eyes are very blue,
very striking.
Otherwise, I don't know. The crab people are cute. Yeah, crab people.
I think at least the actors in this, Ezra and Sabine, have like no chemistry. I don't like someone who hasn't watched. I don't feel like they have a history.
I feel like that's more. We just haven't watched Rebels, so we don't care.
It could be, but I also just I don't know. I wonder what I wonder what like the Rebels fans think, because it is like an actor switch too. I don't know. I felt like their chemistry was off personally.
Was that a Rebels reference when Ahsoka has Hu Yang like drop the landing pad or whatever what do you call that? The loading ramp.
I don't know.
She's like, last time we did this, it didn't go out very well. I felt like that was like some sort of
Probably.
Rebels reference.
Did it happen earlier in the show?
That's what I was trying to think. I'm like, did this happen early in the show or or in Rebels?
I can't remember.
I don't either. But yeah, that's the notes I have. So
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything.
There's like a space. They fly through the asteroid field, and it's like,
fine.
the odds are really low. Great.
Don't tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it was, as you said, it was better paced than like some of the previous episodes. I don't know where I would rank it among them.
I did like Lars Mikkelsen Thrawn just standing back pulling the strings. He seems very military.
Yeah, he's good. He and Ray Stevenson are both like my two favorite
Ray
parts.
Stevenson, that's the actor for Balin Skull. And I do like him just like the whole thing was just a distraction. Like we successfully distracted them. That was the whole goal. We kind of won.
Yeah.
Nice.
One thing
I like it when the bad guys
can't give up time or whatever he says.
Time is very much on our side. We're going to start victory formation, taking a knee.
Yeah.
Football jokes, Holden.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see where it goes next episode. We'll see where the cliffhanger for the Heir to the Empire movie is.
Oh no. Thrawn's pants are so baggy.
I guess I haven't even noticed.
They are like, if it's like windy, he's just gonna like take off. It's gonna be like parasailing or whatever you call it. Just, I just think it's funny.
That is.
But there we go. That's Ahsoka episode 7, Dreams and Madness.
Yeah.
The series finale, season finale, whatever, coming at you next week. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, though, Holden, we got to talk about 3 episodes of Gen V. So let's dive into that. This will be a spoiler discussion of those. So if you haven't seen it, haven't watched those, and you like the boys, watch it because they're pretty good. All right, let's dive into it.
All right. Gen V, the first 3 episodes that premiered last week. The first one's God You. Second one's First Day. Third one is #ThinkBrank.
Nice. I would not have been able to name any of those titles.
Yeah, I just have it listed right here. So
there you go.
that was not
Wikipedia.
That was not off the dome. Anyway, so yeah, obviously this is a spinoff of The Boys. Kind of snuck up on me, honestly. I mean, we talked about like the trailer a month and a half ago or whatever, but kind of forgot until like last week it was coming out, and here we go, and it's pretty good so far.
It's pretty good. I think it's like, right back in. Here we go. It's very entertaining, very traumatic at times. Some visuals that will never leave our brains.
Yes, absolutely.
Lots of gore, some pretty surprising twists and turns, and well, there you go. You got the Boys show.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you could describe it as The Boys, but a college show, and I think that's fairly accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously very broad, but I mean, that is what it is. At its core, it is like a college, a college show, but with all the violence and everything.
And the intrigue and just the world building of The Boys. I do have some notes about this at Godolkin University.
Yeah, I think, so we're doing full spoilers. Probably just talk about them in one lump. I think it might be kind of hard to go episode by episode.
Yeah, no way.
That'd be really difficult.
A lump sum for this one. We can start at the beginning, though, with Marie killing her family, Marie Moreau.
Yeah, which was a very startling. I mean, not that The Boys is, any stranger to, traumatic opening scenes, but it was very startling, even knowing that. But yeah, Marie Moreau, played by Jazz Sinclair, who I only know from the Slender Man movie.
Well, that's more than me.
I think she was nominated for a Razzie for that movie, but she's good in the show. But yeah, she has blood powers.
Yeah, blood bending.
Yeah.
Kind of.
which is very cool. It's a very interesting and fun power.
Yeah, apparently she can only manipulate it outside of people's bodies, though.
Yeah,
Unless do you think she just hasn't realized it?
I don't know.
Are we setting for Scales Mermaids Are Real ending here? Just destroying someone.
There's a whole episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender that's about that. Or like the water benders. There's like this dark side to it where you can like control people's blood.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
a very dark episode of that show. But anyway, I don't know. It might be too overpowered if she can control it in people's bodies.
Yeah.
So I would think
It's like
maybe
the
just
power to
outside of the
explode
body.
people's heads.
Yeah, true. But she's great. I think kind of her backstory with her parents just like accidentally killing her when she has her first period. Like
Yeah,
that's
like talk about trauma upon trauma.
yeah. Oh my God, that's awful.
And then her sister's like, no,
yeah,
I'm gonna disown you.
which I can't say I blame her. Like I mean, she's clearly like, very traumatic for her as well. Probably just wants clean slate and everything. But yeah, Marie's is at an orphanage, I guess, essentially, and gets accepted to Godolkin, but under the stipulation that if she gets, if she leaves for any reason, she's essentially going to go to like super jail,
Yeah.
like a detention facility.
I loved that Godolkin ad at the beginning. I'm super focused.
That was really
or
funny.
whatever.
Yeah, that was good.
Super responsible or whatever they say. I thought that was really good. Yeah, just that good boys satire. I do think it's interesting. So Marie Moreau and then her roommate Emma, who is, I forget her superhero name. It's like you can look it up. But anyway, while you're looking that up, both their powers
Little
Cricket are self-harm powers, which I think is very interesting. So Marie has to cut her palm, and then Emma, Little Cricket, has to force herself to throw up.
Well, one of the things I was going to mention, that's probably good as place as any, is I think this show, since it is, at its heart a college show, granted, very R-rated and everything, it tackles so many like serious topics that people that age will go, might go through everything, but like through the lens of superpowers, right? I mean, you have the self-harm, you have the, bulimia or whatever, eating disorders. And then you have like Jordan too, who's, can switch genders at will and everything. And a lot of these are all told through the context of superpowers, which is just such a unique way of doing it, especially since these are, especially like the self-harm stuff is very serious.
Yeah.
I think it just makes it more unique and interesting that it's doing that.
I agree. And how these characters view them and their kind of like denial of them. And just how people look at them and their unwillingness to be vulnerable in certain situations. I think it's very interesting. And then you take all that and you throw it into like a semi-Hunger Games-esque scenario where you have like the rankings, which is very much feels like the Hunger Games, where they like got the sponsor like numbers out of 12 or 13 or whatever the score.
Press tours. And
that sort of thing. And there's a lot of butt kissing and brown nosing that's going on at these banquets and the Think Brink the memorial and silent auction or whatever.
It's pretty funny.
Clancy Brown, he was great in that first episode.
I was sad to see him go.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is he going to be a recurring character? Yes.
That first episode, man, the boys just does a great job at just completely just ripping the tablecloth off, but not doing it cleanly, and just everything just goes flying and stuff is hitting the fan. And because I was like, oh, this Luke Riordan is just gonna be
played by Arnold Schwarzenegger's kid.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah.
I was like, this guy's gonna be like a main character and all that, and nope.
Yeah,
he
explodes.
He literally explodes himself.
Yeah, that
Clancy Brown. That I wasn't that surprised with Clancy Brown because it's Clancy Brown. But yeah, I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, the last 15 or so minutes of that first episode is just crazy. Like, you have Clancy Brown getting fried, and
well, he tells her that she's because you have the whole incident at the club or at the bar or whatever when the lady is going to die and then
cuts
throat. Cuts her in the throat on accident, and Marie saves the day. And then she's like, thinks she's going to get let into the crime fighting class. And instead she's expelled. And that story was great of like, oh, the sacrifice. Oh, it's good that you're a real hero because you're going to have to take it for the team. You're expelled.
Yeah, that was
like, his delivery
I can kind of see where this is
perfect.
going. Yeah, he was so good in that scene. That was hilarious. But yeah, it's, and then honestly, I didn't really see, like, we see Luke kill
Clancy Brown.
Yeah, Clancy Brown. And initially I thought that
Professor Brink or whatever.
Yeah, Professor Brink. Initially, like, Marie catches up. I thought she was just gonna be like, I mean, she kind of does, like, didn't see anything. I thought they were just gonna, it was gonna be like more of a cover up thing. And I thought they were gonna go that route, but no, like, Luke's very distressed.
Then I thought he was going to kill Jordan.
Yeah, I
No.
did too. I was like, no, but Jordan.
And then I thought he was going to kill Andre when he like rose up and then he just blew up. And I'm like, whoa. And then it ends.
Yeah.
I'm like, what just happened?
Jeez.
And then they're just scooping them all up. And I like all the noises. And just, one thing we do have to talk about, Holden. What is more gory, Saw or The Boys? It is close.
I would say probably in terms of like pure amounts of blood and guts, I'd say The Boys.
Right? It's
But,
got
like,
I think it's...
But it's like a lot of it is very like cartoonish, like just
That's where like Saw 7 is, right? The cartoonish level. It's just absurd.
But even like Saw 7, like I would say a lot of the injuries in that, like you can kind of be like, ew, that would hurt or whatever. In this, it's like a lot of it's just like it's gross, but it's not like you're not like
It's
thinking,
so hyper unrealistic.
Yeah,
You know?
but it's still just hilarious. I don't know. But yeah, I'd say probably Boys, just in terms of sheer volume of blood. If we were to measure
Gallons.
pints, yeah.
Pints. Incredible. That first episode's wild, and then the story only continues to grow from there. Obviously, you have that sex scene with Little Cricket and that other guy, which is
That was hilarious.
very interesting. Some of those images I can't get out, but very funny. I feel bad for Little Cricket.
Yeah.
And her kind of self-worth, her mom.
Yeah,
manipulating her.
it's an interesting kind of, take on the child star thing, kind of, with the overbearing mother who's, kind of living. I mean, all the parents are living vicariously through the kids and the boys, essentially, but
unless they're dead.
Which they're dying vicariously or something. But no, it's I don't know. It was an interesting dynamic there with Little Cricket.
Yeah, I think maybe my gripe with the show is that Marie is maybe too similar to Starlight in terms of like at least not necessarily her exact same character, because there are differences, but like her coming in like wide-eyed, oh, I'm going to save the world and I'm going to be a true hero, and then coming to terms with all the corporate nature of things. I will say Marie looks to be like more on board of just using it to advance herself.
Yeah, that's
though.
I
like
think
she
that's
is
where,
like more compromising and more willing to go into the dark side of it all than Starlight.
I think that's where we'll see them differ, especially in later episodes, because she clearly, like, when Jordan asks her to
tell the truth,
she decides not to, because she realizes it'd be better for her if she doesn't. So yeah, I think that's.
I don't even necessarily if she like chose not to. She just kind of defaulted to not to, or something.
It was
and then it's
easier
like
to not.
then she has to kind of ride. It's very much one of those things like, if she had just had this normal life or what, if it hadn't been for this very specific set of circumstances, she'd probably be a much morally centered person. And because of these things happened in the way that they exactly happened, she started on this dark path, and even though it's forced upon her, she hasn't been able to withstand these temptations.
Yeah.
And she's kind of succumbed to the pressure of this machine that is Vought in this universe, which I think is interesting. And I would like to see her kind of go and embrace some of that stuff to separate herself, distinguish herself from Starlight. So that was just one thing that I was like, at the very beginning, I was like, oh, I've kind of seen this before. But again, the rest of the story is very interesting. Obviously, we have the whole storyline with the Woods.
Yeah, which is seems to be some sort of detention slash testing facility thing. We don't know much about it right now.
Yeah, we found out that the one guy down there was who had escaped was
Luke's brother.
Luke's brother,
who seems to at least have super strength. We don't maybe other things we don't know. But
Luke's brother was at that one facility with the guy with the long penis.
Yeah, I I saw that. I'm like, oh yeah, from like season 2 or whatever.
What is that guy's name?
I can't remember.
He's got
it was pretty funny. I think
Long John. I don't know.
Yeah, that was very good. I think before I get too much into other things I like, the one thing for me that I didn't like as much, and honestly, thinking back to The Boys, it's probably a problem with that show too, is the fight scenes are kind of, I don't think they're that good. Which is
that I think the final episode, that was a big gripe of the finale of The Boys. I think there were the final couple episodes.
Yeah, maybe that's just what I'm thinking. But in this show so far, especially like the fight between Jordan and Luke in the first episode, I was like, this could be filmed a lot better. It
didn't stand out to me.
No,
either way.
I don't know. It was kind of hard to see what was happening. It was very close up and everything. I don't know. It was meh, but there's still a lot of violence, so that's fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, now let me see what other notes I got here. They clearly out, golden, okay. I think I've actually covered all my notes. I'm just trying to think if there's any other things that I wanted to bring up.
Oh, yeah. Well, so, I mean, we briefly, we haven't really talked about Andre or like Kate. Kate's the empath character, which
Mantis-esque.
Yeah. I like those powers a lot, and I like what she does with them. Very funny.
What does the guy have to say when he hits himself in the
Jumanji?
Jumanji. That was a good
I thought that was
cutaway.
great.
Like that was a little gag that they put back in there.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Pretty funny show.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah.
The humor is held up with like boys standards.
You have kind of cameos from Ashley and the guy who directed this Dawn of the Seven or whatever he's teaching a class.
I thought he was pretty funny.
One of my favorite jokes is like the A Train signed shoes, and it's like, oh, he signs it on the bottom so it doesn't last long, but you know it's there, or whatever, at the silent auction. Like, 'cause it just wears off after you walk.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, there were a lot of cameos. I mean, there's a little cameo from The Deep talking about
how he was like
Brink.
6th overall or whatever. Too.
Yeah.
Or that was in the Godalkanad. It was like one.
Oh yeah,
one,
he was
the
sixth.
Deep 6th.
No, he was talking about like Brink, and I can't remember what he did say something funny. I was like, no, classic The Deep.
That guy, like everybody hates on The Deep, but that guy the actor does such a good job portraying him. Yeah, he does. The Deep. You want a fresca?
Yeah.
That was a storyline I did not like the first time I watched season 2. Second time, absolutely hilarious.
It was a lot funnier.
I agree. Very funny. Season 2 of The Boys was a lot better the second time. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's true with season 3 as well, because that was a little bit of a letdown for me. But we'll have to revisit it before season 4 eventually comes out.
Yeah, so Little Cricket goes into the facility in episode 3, sneaks in.
Kind of hits it off with Luke's brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they seem to have a good conversation. And then somehow she's detected. And
she crawls through that guy's brain.
That was hilarious. I loved that. I was like, oh my gosh. Good thing she was small enough.
Yeah.
Otherwise that would have been weird. But
yeah, I feel like still that's got to be very difficult.
Probably.
I'm exhausted. I've been fighting off ants for the last 3 hours.
That was a good line. Yeah, I've been fighting off. That's just what she does to relieve stress, is fight ants or her gerbil or whatever in that first episode that she was filming. Yeah, we didn't really. There's the one popular girl who like reveals her like that she has to throw up to get small to the world and everything.
She's not necessarily popular. She just like wanted to be.
Yeah, she wants to be. Want to be.
I do almost. I don't know. I think I kind of believe that she was like actually remorseful, but she's just like very. She is very like wants. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like I think she's actually just kind of very emotionally stupid, but she like actually does want a friend.
No, yeah, I mean, based on the performance, that's what I gathered too.
But
so
maybe I'm just being manipulated as well.
It would seem too early in the show for me for her to just be like not a good person. I would think that this is like she's going to redeem herself or something. So we'll see. Let me see if there's anything else big we missed. I feel like we have skipped over a lot, but maybe not.
I mean, Andre's now number 1 in the rankings. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
You have the whole thing with Andre's dad, who I cannot remember his dad's superhero name.
Polaris or Polarity?
Polarity, that's what it is. And so he's going to be like the next Polarity and all that. And yeah.
I liked the bit where he finds the phone in the statue of his dad.
Yeah, I'm like, he had to go through the crotch. He couldn't have gone somewhere else. But
Marie's like, or what's her name? Emma's like, it's very Freudian.
yeah. But I don't know. I think we've covered most of it. I think it's a very solid start to the show. And I think I'm excited to talk about it every week for a while.
Yeah, I am.
How many
too.
episodes we got this?
I think it's
season?
8. I think
8.
like, yeah.
And do we know that this is a mini series or a complete show?
I don't think we know. I could see it being a full series, but
I this is so far definitely worth watching if you're into The Boys, which hopefully you haven't listened to this and have not watched it.
and
It's
apparently I was seeing this happens concurrently to the 4th season of The Boys, which we haven't seen yet.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know if we'll get any crossover there or what'll happen with that, but yeah,
there we go.
liking it a lot.
All right, sweet. We'll talk about the 4th episode next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, Holden, you know what time it is.
Saw time.
It is Saw X time.
Saw X
Here
time.
we go. Time to knock your Saw X off.
All right, Saw X. This is the obviously 10th film in the Saw franchise, a franchise we have very publicly loved.
Yes.
Over the last month or so, we've done 2 retrospectives on 1 through 4, and then 5 through Jigsaw, which you can go listen to if you haven't yet. We will do non-spoilers for this one, unlike the retrospectives where it was full spoilers, and then we'll also do a full spoiler section.
Yes, Holden,
Since
here.
it's brand new.
Here's the synopsis for Saw X. Hoping for a miraculous cure, John Kramer, a.k.a. the Jigsaw Killer, travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable. Armed with a newfound purpose, the infamous serial killer uses deranged and ingenious traps to turn the tables on the con artists. Holden.
Yes. This is directed by Kevin Grutert, who directed 6 and 7, or 3D, whatever you'll call it.
Or the final chapter.
Yeah.
And he edited 1 through 5.
Yeah, I think 1 through 5 up until he was
Something like
directing,
that.
and then he also
direct-
edited this one.
Yeah, he directed and edited this one. One thing I learned, Holden, since the last podcast, he was basically forced to do 7. He was going to direct a different movie. I cannot remember what it was. And he, Lionsgate used a clause in his contract to force him to direct Saw 7.
Oh my gosh.
Which I think explains a lot.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because Saw 6 and Saw X are both just objectively way better made movies
Yeah.
than Saw 7.
This is a pretty dang good Saw movie, Jimmy.
Yeah, it
this
is.
this is exactly what I wanted out of it. There's very funny scenes in it. It's not as like laugh out loud funny, I would say, as like some of the others. But that's
But
because
there are a couple moments that are very
yeah.
funny.
But it's also not as laugh out loud funny because it's like actually a pretty decent movie.
Yeah.
I would
It
like
has like a legitimate story.
yeah, it's
an
like
arc.
like compared like a lot of the Saw movies we love from, kind of irony, kind of not.
Like the nonsensical, just silly nature of them.
Yeah, and this one is a lot more straightforward and I think just well made in a lot of ways than most of
It's
the
like a
other Saw
character
movies.
study of Jigsaw.
Yeah.
It's like a mature character study, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
In of itself. Like, it's hilarious that this movie exists, and it is the way it is.
And I should have mentioned too, this is set in between Saw 1 and 2.
Is this the Andor of the Saw universe, Holden?
I don't know if I'd go that far. But I mean, you mentioned Jigsaw. Tobin Bell as Jigsaw in this movie is probably the best part.
Yes,
or
clearly.
at least one of the best parts. He is. This is the first movie we've got where he is the central focus, and it's about dang time. Honestly, He's so good in this role.
If you're a fan of Saw 2, which heavily features Jigsaw, I think this is that even more so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is like literally like there's no doubt he's the main character in this one. I mean. The entire movie focuses around him. Even when we get to the traps later, it's not like in some of the later Saw sequels where it's some guy going through a game or whatever. It's not that. It's like literally it's Jigsaw.
He's just like, all right, here's what you need to do.
Yeah,
here's the tools, and I'm just gonna stand up there and watch you see if you can do it. And Amanda's gonna do some play-by-play.
Yep,
I'll be the color commentator, I guess. Just no mask, nothing.
No, he just does not care.
I mean, little Billy the Puppet, but not really. I mean, just like not even in the TV show. He's just he's got some tapes, but otherwise he's just like, hey, here I am.
I don't think they use any TVs in this.
No, I don't think so. There's like it's either speaker or just a tape, or he just straight up tells them.
Yeah. Kind of fun. I think that is kind of it makes it a bit different because he is just
his
not
production
hiding.
value hadn't quite gotten there yet.
No, he doesn't have the HD TVs in Jigsaw, which happened before all the other movies or whatever.
That's right, and the Billy the Puppet with the glowing eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think so this movie is the longest one by at least 10, 15 minutes. I can't remember.
It's definitely slower paced.
It is, especially in the first half.
I mean,
yeah,
especially compared to like Saw 6, which is just zooms.
Non-stop, yeah.
Just zooms through everything.
Yeah, the first, I would say probably 30 minutes or so is a lot slower paced, but I mean, if you like Jigsaw as a character, if you like Tobin Bell, it's still like entertaining and, you get to feel for the guy.
Yeah. It wins you over. Like you are rooting for Jigsaw because that's the brilliance of this movie. It's like it takes Jigsaw and it compares him to people who are just even worse.
Yeah,
just way worse. Like
people.
Clearly worse people than him. So it's like justifies doing it to them.
Yeah.
Like so he's like sees himself as completely righteous and he kind of is.
We're able to get in his headspace, which I think works really
like
well.
Most of these people don't deserve a lot of like grace for what they've done to other people. Particularly our antagonist, Dr. Cecilia, what's her name? Peterson, who is fantastic.
She's really good.
She is great. She is a great villain for this franchise, and I think she is kind of the new standout character. Like the character that's going to stand out from this movie of the new characters. She is definitely
especially
the one who will be remembered as a top tier Saw character in just in general. But she's great as kind of the leader of this con. Her performance is excellent.
Yeah, a lot of range to it too over the course of the movie. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, but other things to say non-spoiler wise. This definitely has it's a modern look at the old Saw like aesthetic. Like it is still grimy, but it's like nicer grimy.
It's clearly like it's shot on like nicer technology and everything. Like it
better lit and stuff.
Yeah, but it is still just like in a warehouse.
It's like honed in Saw aesthetic. Like it's just like an updated, nicer looking version of that doesn't. It's not like Jigsaw Spiral where it looks like way nicer. It's just like, okay, updated that. It's got the editing of those.
Kevin's back in the editing chair.
Yeah, you got the weird spinny camera stuff going on. Great. Excellent. Really good.
And without like talking about them in detail, I like the traps in this one quite a bit too. I think like I wouldn't say they're like the best Saw traps. There's a couple I like quite a bit. but
I
they
think
are.
there's a couple lackluster ones though.
Yeah, I'd agree.
They're not it's not amazing. Like they're not as good as I don't even necessarily like think that this is like a top half Saw movie in terms of the traps themselves.
I don't know. I there are a couple I really quite like, and I like that. Like it's earlier on in his career, so they're not like super, like some of them are a little bit more elaborate, but none of them are like, shotgun carousel, levels of like production or whatever. Like it kind of does feel like a little bit earlier on, but not quite. And yeah, so I think for that, the simplicity, but yet also just disgusting nature of them, I do like some of the traps in this one quite a bit.
Yeah. We'll talk through each of the traps. I tried to think of a clever name for each one of them.
I did not do that this time, so we'll leave that for you.
There we go. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, this is clearly a movie that any Saw fan is going to like. It's not as, like we said, it's more serious. It's not as silly, just goofy, outrageous fun like something like 7 is, where it's just a parody.
There is some of
the
it
franchise.
in there. There is some self-aware goofiness in here, but yeah, it's not Saw 6 level or
but
anything.
it definitely takes the material seriously, especially concerning like the character of Jigsaw, his relationship with Amanda, his like twisted moral philosophy of the world. Like he sees himself as like the most morally righteous person.
Yeah, there's like no doubt in his mind at all.
It's a Saw movie, so there are twists. I think they're pretty solid.
Yeah, I do too. Not like best Saw twists, but not worst. They're pretty,
pretty good. It's surprising.
Yeah.
Like you don't exactly know what they are. It's not like earth shattering.
No.
You might be able to kind of figure some stuff out, but I think there's enough to keep you on your toes and interested that
it's
you're
no
not
spiral twist.
Oh, where it's just
obvious.
Blatant.
The most obvious twist you've ever seen.
But this is great. I think this is a very solid Saw movie. We'll talk about our rankings later, but music, of course, by
good.
Charlie Clouser. Is great.
I forgot to do it. I was going to rank the Hello Zepp arrangements for this as like a bonus. Because I listen to some of them like semi-regularly on like playlists or whatnot. The one for this one, pretty good.
I will say, one of the kidnappings in this movie, I think, is the best kidnapping in the Saw franchise.
Okay. I'm wondering which one. I might know which one you're talking about.
So,
we'll see. We'll
in my opinion, I'm like, this is the most interesting. Oh,
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the kidnappings aren't that great.
No, they're not. I would take that back. Maybe Adams in the first one is still the best one.
Oh, yeah, that
the,
one is
the
really
flash
good.
photography. But this is like second, I think, in my opinion. In terms of the way it was shot and like the tension of it and the creativity of it. So I will say that I think this is definitely worth seeing in the theater with a fun audience, and a great Saw entry. If you haven't seen a Saw movie, I think you need to at least watch the original Saw movie. And two. I would say you need to watch Saw 1 and 2. And just for the Amanda and Jigsaw relationship. So watch Saw 1 and 2, and then you can decide if you want to watch this.
Yeah, otherwise, you really don't need to see any of the others, I don't think.
No.
There's a post-credits scene, by the way.
There is a post-credits scene.
Stay for that.
It's phenomenal.
It's so good.
Yeah, I think anything else to say? I mean, it takes place in Mexico.
Mexico filter.
That's why I'm wearing my Los Pollos Hermanos. It's got that yellow Mexican filter on there.
The Breaking Bad does. Very funny. I laughed immediately as I saw that.
It was a good observation by Holden. All right, anything else, Holden? What are you going to rate this?
I hadn't even thought of that. I don't, because I haven't rated any of the other Saw movies, and I don't know how to rate Saw movies, like number-wise.
You rated Spiral 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10?
That probably would go down. I'll rate it just in terms of Saw.
Okay, where is it?
A number for Saw, I'll say this is like I'd say it's an 8.
Out of 10 Saw?
Yeah. For me, like, Because my favorite Saw, if I say my favorite Saw is a 10, least favorite, I don't know if I'd say it's a 1, but yeah, I'll put this at an
Least
8.
favorite's like a 7.
I guess, yeah, it's least favorite's a 7. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'll give it an 8. Sure.
All right, sweet. It was this movie for people who like Saw. I mean,
Saw
come
fans.
on. Especially if you're
Which-
like, Saw 2's the best Saw, then I think you would really like this one.
Yeah.
Because I think this is like better Saw 2.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I agree. No.
Which is probably heresy to other people, but we'll talk about it in our rankings.
Yeah. I don't know why there are people. I mean, if you're queasy, obviously I get that, but otherwise you should be a fan of Saw. No excuses. No excuses.
Well, let's give the original one a try.
Yeah.
At the very least. All right, Holden. Let's dive into our spoiler discussion.
All right. Spoilers for Saw X. Jimmy.
We have not even done a Jigsaw impersonation yet. That's pretty incredible. The amount of restraint.
I want to play a game.
The amount of restraint shown is phenomenal.
I want to review Saw X.
Spoilers. Spoiler alert. I have so many notes.
All right. Well, let's just start at the beginning. We can kind of start with John Kramer's life going and for diagnosis and in the hospital and everything. He's told he has months to live at most.
Which I thought Dr. Gordon was supposed to tell him that.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you did it so coldly or whatever and so on.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
There's
whatever.
probably some right around to it. I don't know. But then we get honestly, what I really liked was him like imagining that saw trap for that guy. I was like, okay, so we're literally we're seeing how like he just immediately is like thinking of how to punish these people. Like he's thinking about how, it fits the crime and everything and how you can make it poetic or whatever. And so that's where we get the eye vacuum trap, which is on the poster.
Yes. Which is a great poster.
Great poster.
Perhaps the best Saw poster.
I'm kind of on that. I've thought about
my only thing is like, is the trap that great itself?
I like it.
I like it, but I don't like. It wasn't that impactful to the rest of the movie.
Here's my thing: when we first talked about, maybe when the poster came out or trailer, I can't remember. My initial idea for it, I think I like more than what it actually was, because I thought it was
Like
maybe going to
rats
be
or
the
something?
rats.
I say it was probably sucking it out? I don't remember.
I think he's presented that as an alternative. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's still good. Like, it's still fun. It's kind of funny when the eyes get sucked out and they just plop down in that little.
Yeah. Well, didn't he say it would like eventually kill him or something? Like, I was expecting his whole like
I can't
brain
remember
juices to start
exactly
going
how
up
it
that.
went, but yeah, I thought it was fun. But I guess what I was gonna say, I moved houses recently, and I'm looking for more movie posters to put up, and I have considered doing the Saw X poster just because it is very good, and I love Saw. So
It's a great poster.
yeah,
I tried to think of a funny name for this one. I like eye sucker is like something with sucking eyes, but I'm like, that's low hanging fruit. So couple ideas.
See no
for
evil.
this.
We've done it like two times before.
Yeah.
Just do it again.
I call it the Apple Dum Dum because it's the eye sucker, as in like iPhone. That was a bad one.
That's dumb.
My other one has nothing to do with the eyes. It's Pinky Up because it breaks his fingers. So
That's better.
Reference.
That's
to
better than
SpongeBob.
Apple Dum.
Yeah,
that's
hold on,
stupid. That's the worst thing.
Dyson
I've ever
vacuum. I had a couple thrown out.
heard. Dyson. That's kind of funny.
Okay, that was okay.
That one
All right,
works.
Dyson vacuum, but I was like, I don't know, but it's more like Dyson fan. That like I don't know. I couldn't think of something.
But yeah, but then the guy sees John Kramer there and doesn't rob the hospital
he
patient.
puts it back. Good choice.
Yeah, good choice. Thought that was very funny. That was a very good opening. And then he goes to the cancer support group where he meets the one guy. He's like,
Like Cameron Trot. You never had cancer. You're lying.
no, the one guy's like, oh, I've got like a month to live or whatever. I've got pancreatic cancer. And then like one of the next scenes, John Kramer's sitting at a cafe just hanging, and then he sees the guy and it's like, You look well.
Yeah, Henry or whatever his name is.
Henry Kessler, I think.
Yeah, the battle scar. Good makeup, I guess, huh?
Yeah. It was
Looked
good
convincing
makeup.
to me.
Yeah. Could have fooled me.
When they did the scam, I actually thought they would at least like cut open his brain. But I mean, I guess if you're not actually a doctor, even like that would be really scary. I mean, like cut a skull, or something. They didn't even do that.
No,
they did nothing. True. Did they even shave his head? Like,
no.
I was like, they didn't like be a little bit like if you're gonna go through all of this.
Yeah, because they literally just put the bandages on, said, hey, like keep it on for a couple weeks or whatever,
and then drink this water.
Yeah.
Or whatever. No, it was like painkillers or something.
Which, so the guy Henry introduces him to this, possible, seems to be like this miracle cure. And John does a little bit of research on his own. He sends them a message.
Like that Windows 95 look that they had going.
I loved that it was just a search engine called like web search.
Yeah, web search.
Very, very copyright free. But yeah, then he gets a reply back. They're like, hey, yeah, come on down to Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were going to go to Sweden or whatever.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I don't remember. But, we could fit you in Mexico. If he's just like, no.
Yeah, because he's like, he indicates that he doesn't have like that long.
Yeah, I don't have she's like, you don't have that long, do you? She's very, very deceptive.
Yeah.
Incredibly deceptive.
Very, very fun antagonist.
Great. But then, so they have this scam. I'm wondering how the scam is economically viable, honestly, with the amount of stuff they do. And I know they paid $260K or whatever, but still.
Because you have to constantly relocate. You have to hire a bunch of people. You have to, decorate these places, quick setup, quick tear down. You have to
was it
cover up probably stuff.
Yeah, so they one thing I was confused about is the medical equipment is just left there and they just sabotaged it. I'm like, where did this stuff come from?
I don't know.
Was it just like an abandoned medical facility that they just found with all this expensive equipment?
I feel like to me, I just took it as they just left the equipment there, but like that.
But it looked like it was like sabotaged.
I think that was just to show they like left in a hurry.
Yeah, but why would they leave the equipment there? Is my guess. Were they going to go back and get it?
If I'm being honest, I think it's just a plot hole that doesn't make much sense.
I'm like, I don't understand that part of it. Was one of my things. But John Kramer goes, he gets all this like nice relationship with all these people. He's like, I have my life back. And he's like so happy. And then he's going to give the gift.
The wine or whatever.
The tequila or whatever it was. Yeah. And they're like gone. And he's like, what the heck's going on? He finds like How to Do Brain Surgery for Dummies DVD.
That's like that part honestly is the worst part for me. Like, why would you leave that?
I don't understand.
That's so dumb.
He starts watching just it, and it's the video
that I saw before he passed out during the quote unquote surgery and the procedure.
Which I guess where else are you going to get a video like that in 2004 or whatever? Because YouTube's not really a thing yet.
Yeah, but it's still just dumb that they just left it there.
Yeah, and all that expensive medical equipment. But we're not here to talk about plot holes. We're here to talk about the greatness of this movie.
Yes.
I love how that life coach conversation. She's like, "Oh, what do you do?" He's like, "Oh, I used to be a civil engineer, and
now I help people.
Architect. Now I'm more of a life coach."
Yeah.
Or like a life coach. Yeah, something like that.
I don't have many off the top of my head, but there are a few just like very tongue-in-cheek lines in this movie that are very funny as a Saw fan. It's just they're clearly like alluding to something, and it's not taking itself too seriously.
When he calls the detective for help.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, great.
Detective, I'm in need of, which is clearly Hoffman.
Yes.
Which we were like, yes.
Yes. Apparently people like cheered in other theaters.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll talk about a little moment later, but a certain moment later.
But one of the great funny moments in the movie for me is when he's like, because he wants to bring them the gifts, so he like triangulates their position. He does like the shadow is this big at this time of the day. Like, what's the distance?
So
Triangulate.
smart. He finds the radio tower.
Like, I was gonna say Sokatano, Sokatoa. Like figuring out the angle and all that, and dude has located them.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing.
He finds the facility,
which is a great thing because when what's his name comes back later, that's a good cue that how does this guy know where he is?
That's true.
John Kramer did the math out of this thing.
That's a good point.
So it's
I
like
didn't
a
even
little
pick up on that.
Yeah, it's like a little breadcrumb for you if you're really paying close attention.
Which honestly, if you were paying attention, you could just write it off as like a saw plot. Like you could just be like, yeah, well, these movies don't make that much sense.
Yeah. But then we have the kidnappings. Well, no, sorry, we have the Diego trap.
That's right. I like that trap.
That's
a
a great trap.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of a name for that one. I want to do like Irish wristwatch, but on.
Oh my gosh!
But I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. I don't know why it would be Irish. It's just because it's a fun thing to say. Like, I don't know. You got something? Nothing?
I don't know, but it's the pipe bombs on the wrist.
Yeah.
Which is it's another case of just like fairly simple and just very gross.
Yes.
That has probably some of the better gore
just
in the
has
movie.
To cut just slough his skin off of his arm essentially. And I'm like, I'm glad he made it too, because I was like, we're due for someone surviving a saw trap.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been several movies.
I do have to. I always wonder like why don't they he knows he's John Kramer in this, and he survives, but yet John Kramer
is just a henchman now, probably. I guess, right?
Yeah, that's the twist in the next movie.
Well, I don't know if that's so much of a twist, but he told them everything, right?
He did, everybody. Yeah. But I think that was just when he was like being held there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. It was a fun trap.
He's probably like, well, if you tell anybody, I'll kill you.
I'll just kill you.
I mean, I won't kill you, but I'll put you in
another trap. I'll have you do this again.
I'll give you 60 seconds next time, and I'll be on your legs. I'll have you cut your leg off.
There'll be bigger pipe bombs.
Put a bite bomb on your head. But no, that was a good tense trap. Glad he made it, kicked it. Nice explosion. Then we have the kidnappings. You have the car with the, I think that was that Gabriella or whatever?
No, that was Valentina.
Valentina. The bathroom was Gabriella, right? Because she's the drug addict. The vet clinic, and then, in my opinion, the Hall of Fame one, which is the house with Dr. Peterson.
I can't even remember what happens in that one.
Well, she's in the house, and then she's like looking, she realizes that someone's there because she like hears a noise, and she's like looking at her surveillance thing. Well, it's just a tense scene throughout. Because it's like, that's the nice thing about the Saw kidnappings. It's like, there's going to be some sort of jump scare, and they're never really that big of jump scares.
No.
But her looking on the monitor and then seeing, like, just going through all the angles and then like seeing the person on her roof.
Yeah.
And then they drop it in. Like, I thought that was just good. And then that's not even the end of it. Like, you have that kind of like a little little bit of tension left. She gets in the car. She sees one of the people out in the driveway or whatever, and then she gets jabbed behind.
That was a
good
neck. Kidnapping. I just kind of forgot about it, honestly.
Yeah. There's a lot of other stuff that happens in this movie, but I thought that was like, name a better one other than Adams.
No, I don't think I could. Adams is very good.
Because otherwise it's just like, oh, I'm going to my car. Oh, I got kidnapped. Oh, I'm in my house. Oh, I got kidnapped. Well, the one where, Saw 4, where it's the detective looking in her closet. Is that Saw 4?
Oh,
and it's like
I think that's
she like
3.
turns,
that
or
one,
it's
that
3.
one's pretty good.
Is that the Angel of Death trap that she's in?
Yeah.
Something like that, where she's like looking in and it's like the camera. Another
that
live feed
one.
camera one.
Yeah.
So if you need a good Saw kidnapping, all you need is a live feed camera playing on a television somewhere. But that one's pretty creepy. Although I think I like this one more, and it's a little bit more drawn out.
Sure.
So I like it. So that was that. Then we have Jigsaw just shows his face to his victims is what I have.
Yeah, which I like. I think that's fun in this movie. Like
And
I
then-
said, I think that sets it apart a bit more.
And then we have all the traps in the room.
Yeah.
3
Which is
minutes.
most of the rest of the
bottom
movie.
Yeah. I think I have my pretty good name for the first one, Valentina's trap.
Yeah, so the one where she has the wire thing or the little saw, and then she has to cut her leg off. Get
Yeah.
the bone marrow.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
I called it the first leg of the race.
Okay.
Because it's like the first,
Yeah, I could see that.
I thought that was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Dude, Jigsaw, take it easy, man. Cutting her full freaking leg off.
That was
and then sucking out the bone. Like, the lady has literally cut her leg off.
my God.
Like, I think that's enough.
Yeah, in one, watching her cut it off, she like does it from the bottom, but like when she gets like almost all the way, and it's just like a little bit of skin and like tendon holding. It's like, oh my God, that's so gross. It looks, I mean, classic Saw fashion. It looks great. But yeah, then the bone marrow. It was that and another trap in this movie. It's just like kind of unfair, like because like you have to do something and then you have to like wait. Essentially,
Yeah.
it's like a time thing, which I don't really mind.
Dude,
Like a lot of the saw traps
give
are
them
unfair,
an hour.
but yeah,
Give them an hour to cut their leg off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
or at least give them 10 minutes.
10 minutes. If you're going to have them cut their leg off and suck out the bone marrow.
Yeah. But in classic Saw fashion, they accomplished the task basically, but then we also get the payoff of the full death.
I'm
too.
like, if I'm in a Jigsaw trap, I'm just not doing it. I'm just
Yeah.
embracing death because
Might
you
as
might as well
well.
just embrace it and then you just.
like, yeah, I'm a bad person. All right.
I don't want to suffer and just die anyway.
Yeah.
So might as well just die. So there we go. The first leg of the race. Poor Valentina. Her body just, they really, it's like the Lakota tribe getting the use of all the bison. It's just, they used every part of her body.
Yeah, which
Everything.
is one of the funniest
Multi-purpose.
parts of the movie. When we kind of put together like, well, it's where the phone rings in the center of the room, and it's like in this cloak or whatever, and so then they're trying to figure out how to get it since Kramer and Amanda are kind of distracted. And they're like, all right, well, we need like a rope or something. And then,
Wait, how are we going to reach it? And I'm like, why? At first I thought she was going to use her leg to like grab it. And then she grabbed like her torso or whatever, or the rest of her body. I'm like, oh, she's going to cut off like her arm. And then she starts cutting into like her stomach. I'm like, oh my gosh.
as soon as she grabbed the torso, I knew what she was doing.
She's using
I was-
her intestines as a rope, which I told
It's
them like
so
literally
funny.
like 2 days before in my class. I was like, you were talking about in something that they found in this one guy's intestines to find out like how high he was on a mountain like 5,300 years ago. And I'm like, the intestines, that's the one where you could like lay it out and it's like 2 school buses long or something, or a school 30 feet long. And then lo and behold, they're using that knowledge to make a rope, which gotta appreciate all the anatomy that goes into the Saw
yeah.
universe.
It's so that's probably one of the funniest parts of the movie. It's so silly, but it is ingenious too. Like I think that's one of the things that makes Peterson a good character too.
well,
'Cause
also she would think of that because she's like a doctor,
she's
even if she's a fraud.
so yeah, she's very ingenious. She's scrappy and everything, and even though John is ends up being like a step ahead of her for most of it, she's still
Yeah, she almost beats him.
almost beats him.
Well, I think I was talking to Emily. Like, why didn't they just put the thing closer?
Yeah,
Like, what if she can't? What if they don't figure out how to reach the phone?
I guess I don't know.
Then she
if,
just
like,
plays the normal game, I guess.
Yeah, either plays the normal game or maybe like if you place it too close, it's like suspicious. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, why wouldn't he be more careful about that?
How many times are we gonna let it ring, John? They have to figure out that they gotta use her intestine. Like, what if she survived? Was she close enough? She only has one leg at that point, and assuming they're gonna rush her to the hospital.
I guess
Which again, you showed them your face,
that's true.
so I don't know. I love the line where I think it's Mateo's trap is up next,
Yeah. Just a
and
second.
and Cecilia Peterson is like, do you want to end up like her? And then it shows Valentina's body, like her torso, and then it like pans over to her leg, just in the most comical fashion ever. I thought that was just hilarious bit of filmmaking.
Classic Saw.
Great visual storytelling there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
then
the classic show don't tell.
we have Mateo, who's got to take a part out of his brain.
Mm-hmm.
I called this one the brain tweezer.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's funny.
Thank you. So he's got to cut into his scalp using the live video, like actual live video this time.
Yeah, which, owie.
Yeah.
No anesthetic,
Although
which is
this
fun because
time you won't have any anesthetic.
Yeah,
which is all I had.
Yeah, I liked how that tied in to his role in the scam.
Hilarious moment from earlier is when Diego is doing Diego's doing the tour in the taxi, and he's talking about the Aztec god.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
John's just like, very
interesting.
interesting.
They would require a sacrifice or something. Ooh, okay.
Oh yeah. All right. Give me some ideas. He's just, sketching in the park.
That's right. Yeah. We forgot to mention that. I thought it was so funny that he's just sketching.
He's like, oh, a whole new life. He's sketching all these death traps. But Mateo's trap, he gets the piece out of his brain. They're like, you need enough to dissolve, and then it will reach this whatever pH level or whatever, or enter. I don't remember what it was, and then it's gonna open the key and then unlock, and you're not gonna make it anyway. It doesn't matter.
Nope.
I thought he was gonna take more of his brain out.
I thought so too, because you'd want to be safe, but gosh.
Also seemed very unfair. Like, what if he pulls it and just then he can't move? Like, he picked the wrong part.
Yeah,
of the brain. I don't know.
That does seem unfair. Maybe the camera was. Maybe he knew exactly what part of the brain he was pointed at. It's like this is a part.
You're gonna want to cut right here. So I've seen multiple theories that Cecilia gives bad advice, but I don't think so either.
I mean, I'd have to watch it again, but I don't think she does.
I feel like there's got to be an interview with the writers and Kevin Gruder as what was going on there, because that's something we can talk about as we get to the end. But it seems like she did want them to, she genuinely tried to help them survive. Mm-hmm. But later on, she says she doesn't care, but maybe she's just saying that to kind of build up this deception or whatever. She just is in the heat of feeling this victory over John, and she wants to rub it in even more.
Yeah, my theory was just that in case, and it didn't really line up with the last trap, but it was just in case any of them survives, it saves face or whatever.
Yeah.
She's not just rooting for them to die or whatever. So I don't know.
Or maybe she thinks it's going to help her. And then there's the other part that people are confused about and torn online. So we'll need some interpretation on behalf of the writers and director of whether she knew he was Jigsaw before they actually scammed him, or when did she find out he was Jigsaw? Because it's literally it seemed like half the people on Reddit at least assumed were like me and interpreted that she had figured out he was Jigsaw before or during the con or whatever, and continued on anyway. But you seem to think it was during the traps.
Yeah, I just took it as
which makes way more sense.
Yeah, that's what, and I want to watch this again just to kind of clear some things up. But I think it's just that, she figured it out. She saw she was in a trap. She probably, had read about the Jigsaw killer and whatever. And she mentions that she kind of liked that she had scammed the Jigsaw killer or whatever she says. I'm guessing that just was when she was in the trap. That was just when she started plotting and I don't know. That's just what I took it as.
Yeah. All right. Then we get to Gabriella's trap.
Mm-hmm.
Which
probably the lamest one.
Yeah, by far. Yeah. I couldn't think of a name. I just put an hang in there. I don't know. I was I can't think of the radiation station. I don't know.
Junction.
I couldn't think of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, she gets heat blasted into the face.
Yeah.
Another hilarious part. Oh, break your legs so then you can swing out of the way, and then it just
moves.
moves over.
Which makes sense he'd have the ability to do that, but also like, well, if she had broken
Why?
her,
Like, why?
well, I'm also thinking like if she had broken her arm, she just would have fallen to the ground.
Yeah.
She just would have probably broke her back or
Face.
something or
Yeah.
head. So,
Like, dude, like she did what you wanted her to do. Like, if you're gonna say that it moves, I feel like you got to reveal that beforehand. Unfair. Jigsaw a little unfair today, I think.
who would have thought? I mean, they did scam him, so he's not feeling too generous.
That was the worst trap.
Yeah,
And she's lived, but then Cecilia just steps on her.
yeah, cracks her neck.
So good on Cecilia. Then we get the bloodboarding one, which I just called Seesaw. I couldn't think of something with blood and saw and
Bloodborne.
bloodborne.
No. Yeah, which I think the concept of it is it's kind of classic Saw. I think if it's like it's very much like you have to be either selfish or not to like survive. Like you either have to sacrifice yourself or be selfish, I guess is kind of the whole mentality. I thought it's very simple. I thought it was like, yeah, it feels like an old school Saw trap in a lot of ways.
And it would keep going unless someone grabbed the money, it appears.
Yeah,
That's what triggered it to
I think
stop.
so,
So
yeah.
otherwise someone would have died.
I think so. Which
I'm presuming
John
if someone would have died, then John would have just stopped it and said, "You win." But how can he tell?
I'm not. I honestly,
The logistics of this trap didn't make very much sense to me.
I just took it as like John was genuinely willing to die
Yeah.
for that. So I honestly like if they hadn't grabbed the money right away, he might have just died.
Well, yeah, like in the situation, but I'm thinking like, okay, he appeared to assume that he and Amanda were gonna end up in that trap.
Yeah.
So like he was just gonna let them die. Like I'm just like, if you assumed you were gonna end up in there, why did you make it a trap? Why didn't you just do the glass box thing?
Yeah.
Or so, like, and then I thought they were gonna like, they got like chained up, or I thought they were gonna be like lifted up and like they were gonna like blast like the furnace of like the floor or whatever. Something was gonna happen.
Sure.
And they were gonna be like above everything and watching them burn or something. But then you get what's the kid's name? Carlos or whatever.
I think so. I think.
Which I saw
Carlos.
that Josh Stolberg, who's one of the co-writers of this, he like put on Reddit that Carlos means warrior. I guess is one of the definitions of one of the translations of it, which he calls him like a warrior at the end. He's like, "You're a warrior, kid," or whatever he says. And
that's deep.
it's also, I think Gideon is also like a Hebrew word for warrior. So it's like supposed to tie in that he's like kind of like his son figure.
Interesting.
So that's from Josh, like the guy who literally wrote it.
Okay.
So he said like, "Oh, here's something people haven't picked up on yet on Reddit." So, which is very interesting because Josh Stolberg, very active on Reddit. And so is Kevin Grutert, the director. So that's just cool that they're interacting with the community and seem to really love this franchise.
Yeah. The Solberg and Goldfinger wrote the previous two as well.
Yes, Spiral and Jigsaw.
Yeah.
So
This is the best one of those.
yes, this is the best one by far.
Let's see what else. We didn't mention the twist, which is what's his name? The guy who we thought like midway through the movie or whatever, we have this guy come in and we think he's just another disgruntled patient because we saw him during the scam.
Yeah. He's got his
comes-
thyroid removed.
Yes. But no, he turns out to be Cecilia's lover
Yes.
and partner in crime.
And they all do like, "Oh, she's just going to turn on you anyway," or I'd die for you, baby, or whatever. All those classic Saw
foreshadowing.
lines of foreshadowing. Yeah, so what's his name? It's got to be in here. Parker?
Yeah,
Parker.
Parker sounds right.
Yeah, so that's in there. I also put in Chekhov's Spanish word for pole.
Oh yeah,
No
that's
bala,
right.
Which
I didn't pick up on that.
Wasn't there recently a movie where jump was the word? What was that movie? Like this exact same thing happened in another movie where it was like the word was jump.
I can't remember.
And they had to like say the word. And I cannot remember, and it's driving me crazy. It's like within the last year, I want to say.
Yeah, I kind of remember what you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know what movie.
So if you know, put it down in the comments. Otherwise, so yeah, I like how it didn't go exactly the plan with Carlos showing up and putting him in the trap. John's obviously flustered by it. He's like, it's not supposed to be like this. He's not supposed to play the game. Maybe I shouldn't have made this a horrible death trap. And then the very touching moment when little Carlos like turns it to him.
Yeah, he's
like, no Vala, Carlos, no Vala.
No, yeah, that was really cute. I liked that a lot. But then
watching that kid get waterboarded.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I loved that. But then you have Peterson and Parker. They go up and grab the money. The doors slam shut. Yeah, immediately just needle drop into Hello Zep, which was great. I told you this might be my favorite needle drop out of the Hello Zeps just because of the timing. It was very good.
And you knew that door was going to slam on them in a second. I call that the gas chamber trap. Hole for one and one for hole.
No, that's good.
Thank you. I was a little bit disappointed by this. I thought I was in classic Saw form, like you said, with the seesaw blood boarding trap, that it's very much like, being selfish kind of ruins it for you. Like Jigsaw, the end of that with the spoilers for Jigsaw, with the shotgun shooting back and the whole trap was like you weren't supposed to do it at all. I thought this was going to be whoever puts their head through that hole was going to get like guillotined, decapitated, and I was pretty sure that was going to happen, but it didn't.
Yeah. So
I was like, wow, that wasn't very John Kramer of you. Cecilia did not learn a thing. All right.
No.
Did not work, John.
Well, that's so I couldn't remember where I saw it. I was trying to find it before this, but apparently like the writers, I accidentally clicked on Costas Mandy.
Well, there were worse things that happened.
But
Freudian.
Yeah. Apparently like they did that so like she could come back.
Yes. So. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's plenty to talk about with Saw 11 and the bright future of this franchise.
Yeah, there's places to go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm so excited, Alden. I'm so glad.
It seems to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well. Too. It's going to be a box office success.
It
maybe not a huge one, but at least a success.
Yeah, it's the best. It's better than Jigsaw and Spiral in terms of like opening weekends.
And this movie has like, is it still above 80 on Rotten Tomatoes?
It might be.
Which is the most critically acclaimed Saw movie, which is incredible.
Metacritic, I know it was sitting around like a 60, 61. It was kind of going up and around that. But let's see. Yeah, 83 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Look at that.
What a time to be alive. Higher than the creator.
Yeah.
That would have been a very interesting bet to make.
Yeah.
Which one's going to get a higher Rotten Tomatoes?
I would have bet on the creator. I feel like that would have been
the safer choice.
Bet. Yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are.
Saw
Dark
X
horse.
coming through. Great. The money at the end that they gave to Carlos, I thought that was going to explain how he had so much money to do all this stuff.
That would have been really
gonna
funny. That would have been hilarious if they did that.
But he just gives the Carlos.
Yeah.
And interestingly, no Billy laugh.
No, that's true.
He just pulls the cart over to Mateo. Some columns ahead, Dr. Peterson says she doesn't care, but she seems genuinely interested in helping the other people live. How does Jigsaw set everything up so quickly? Why did they destroy the medical equipment? And when did she find out he was the Jigsaw killer? So some of those things could be answered by the creators. But we better get to that post-credit scene, Olin.
Oh yeah. This is like my Captain America picking up Thor's hammer moment.
I think I was more excited for this, honestly.
Yeah. We get to the post-credit scene and who appears but Detective Mark Hoffman.
There he is. They teased
Finally.
him.
Yeah,
they teased him.
We got a kind of.
He's looking pretty good too.
He is. I was surprised. Like, he shows up and doesn't really look like he's aged much at all.
Yeah.
Has the best line in the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Like hilarious, so stupid, and it doesn't even really fit his character, but it's so funny.
I think it does. I think it's
so?
something that Detective Hoffman's gonna say.
Oh, okay. But yeah, he says, of all the people, it's not like all the people to scam. You pick John Kramer. I call that epic bad luck.
Epic bad luck. And then that trap.
He's relishing in that line.
That trap
too.
is definitely the opening trap of Saw 11.
You think
right?
so?
Saw
I guess that would
Chi.
make sense. Yeah, if we're doing immediately after this movie.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
We have not talked about Amanda like at all.
No, I was realizing that I was gonna wait until we were done with the traps, and then I just kind of forgot. I like their relationship. I like how her and Jigsaw's relationship is fleshed out more in this movie, because we don't really get much of that in the other. Like we
Saw 3.
Yeah, a little bit. But this is like earlier on, obviously, even earlier than 2. So we get a lot of Jigsaw like, no, you're ready, Amanda.
You can do it, Amanda.
You can do it. Don't worry. When I'm gone.
Yeah. You'll be able to kill these people.
I
mean, send them into traps.
Yeah.
Help them learn. Everybody has a chance to redeem themselves.
So I thought their relationship was a good part of this movie, honestly, in the middle chunk. I liked that.
I do too. I've never been that. I feel like the execution of Amanda's character hasn't been super interesting to me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, as far as like the Saw antagonists go, she's probably like one of the lesser ones for me. But yeah, I thought actress does a good job.
We're also not as hot on Saw 2 as a lot of people are.
True. So that's part of it. But yeah, she does a good job, and yeah, I liked her in this movie. She sympathizes with Gabriella, which I thought was kind of nice
because they were both drug addicts.
Yeah, so I liked that.
Yeah. Saw 11 seems to be happening, Holden. It seems that this is well received by critics, by fans. It's making enough money. It seems that'll be a box office success.
I would guess this movie would have legs too, especially with the critical reception. Like you're gonna have people that are like, I don't really want to see the new Saw movie, but then they hear
like
people
it's
say
the highest rated one. It's 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. A Saw
I might
movie.
actually go see this. Yeah.
John Kramer's the main character.
Yeah.
I think it'll help introduce, because you only need to see the first couple, so I feel like people could get in on it and like, oh yeah, her. And I like how they just Better Call Saul'd it, and like, all right, they're younger but they're older. You guys are smart enough to get it. Like Amanda does not look like she's 30 anymore. You guys don't worry about it.
And to be fair, like Tobin Bell has looked the same.
Yeah, pretty
since
much
the first movie for the most part.
And if he doesn't, it works because it's like they want to make him look sickly.
Yeah, he's looking sickly anyway. And then Costas Mandylors just looks the same.
Just great. Incredible.
But yeah, I'm hoping that post-credits scene, sets up him having a bigger role in the next movie. And
the producers have basically said Costas Mandylor is back, baby.
Yeah.
Which apparently he has been dying to come back.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. I haven't.
Hoffman.
Yeah, I haven't seen like a lot of the movie. It seems he does a lot of directed like VOD stuff. So this is probably like one of the bigger roles he's had. Probably really likes. I mean, he seems to like it. So
well, we like him.
We like him.
I'm so excited.
And apparently people have cheered at him coming like in the post credits scene.
People were losing it.
Not in our theater. Our theater was pretty subdued for most of the movie, I'd say, but we were into it.
Yeah, but awesome. So excited. Saw X. Holden, any final thoughts on the last new Saw movie we'll see for a while here?
Yeah,
for at least like 1 year.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if this movie ends up like
I bet
doing pretty well,
I bet that's 2 years. I bet they don't crank it out next year. I bet it's a 2 year.
I could see that. Yeah. But if this movie does end up doing pretty well box office wise, yeah, I think they are going to more fast track it than they have been with the last couple. So yeah, just awesome. Love this movie.
All right.
Very good.
Let us quickly rank the Saw movies.
Yes.
From worst to greatest. Would you like to start? Would you like me to start? Hold on.
I can start. Let me have it pulled up right here. So I'll go from my favorite to least, or should I do the other way?
Least favorite to favorite.
Least favorite to
Build
favorite.
up.
Okay. So least favorite.
Which, before we say this, looking online, I literally looked at like every major publication's top Saw movies ranked. There is absolutely no consensus.
No.
Some people have Spiral the second best movie.
Some people love
Some
Spiral.
people have it dead last. Like a lot of people have dead last. Some people have Saw 2 like number 1. Some people have it like 7. It's like there's some people like hate Saw 3. Other people are like it's the best one.
It really
Saw 6 is like all over the board.
It really depends on like what you get out of the series, I think. But I think that's kind of the magic of this one. I think like almost everyone's like Saw fans are gonna like it.
Unite. Not that Saw fans are divided, but like everybody seems to like this one.
Yeah. But anyway, this is my rankings, least favorite to favorite. Start with Spiral. Spiral's the lowest. And just quickly, I'll say since we didn't do a review on it,
We did 2 years ago.
But not for the retrospective. I have watched it since then, and I like it less. It's just like the least fun one. I like, as we've mentioned, the twist is super obvious. The traps there's like one good trap that I remember, and the rest are like nothing. It's just such a mediocre movie.
No John Kramer.
No John Kramer. Yeah. But then I have Saw 5.
Okay.
Second lowest. Which, granted, this and the next one are very close. I have Saw 2 then, which
is people love Saw 2. So.
Yeah. And then I have
why do you have Saw 2 so low?
Saw we talked about it. For me it just felt like a stepping stone to like where I actually like Saw, which on this rewatch I realized how much I like 3 and everything. And Saw 2 just feels like almost there but not quite. I feel like the game is really unfocused, and especially towards the end the traps are yeah. And Donnie Wahlberg, it's whatever.
Yeah. The needle trap is great.
Yeah, the needle trap's iconic. That's the best one. But then I have Jigsaw.
Okay.
Saw 3D, final chapter.
Wow, you have Saw 7 that high.
Yeah, no, Saw 7 is up there entirely just because it's hilarious.
It's so fun. It is hilarious.
Like I said,
it's hard to rank that one because it's so much fun to watch, but it is so legitimately terrible.
It is really bad. Then I have Saw X. Then I have Saw 3, Saw 4, Saw 1, and Saw 6.
All right. So Saw 4 is high on yours compared to a lot of people.
Yeah, I Saw 4 and Saw 3, that's another one where I feel like it's pretty close for me. So I think why I like Saw 4 more than most people is just because that's when it gets really stupid. And
I am very torn at where to put Saw X here.
I have it just like middle, but that's not a bad thing by any means.
There's quite a few here that are very close. Here's my rankings right now. I have Spiral last. When we reviewed Spiral, I said it was like the second best, but then I also said I didn't like the series very much. I just liked the first one, which that is no longer true at all. I love this. I love it when they get stupid. They are amazing. I almost like that more now than like the second, because I used to Saw 2 was my second favorite one, I think, or maybe it was Saw 3, and then it was like a huge drop off for me where I didn't like any of the other ones. So I have Spiral, then I have Saw 3D, but again, it's hilarious, and I would watch it again in a heartbeat.
I'm kind of surprised you have it that low.
I don't know. It's so funny to watch.
It is. It's really.
I can't in good conscience rank it higher than that though. Like
okay,
it's so
fair.
bad.
It is really bad.
But if it was like, which one of these is most entertaining?
That's why I'm like, it's hard for me to rank these because I'm like, it's a balancing game. I feel like for most of this, it's entertainment value for me.
And I'm gonna upset people with Saw 2 being the third worst, which is where you had it too.
Yeah,
I just think it's boring. Like I just like, I get it. Like it created the franchise. You have a lot of Jigsaw in it, but I think Jigsaw is just kind of annoying. And the game itself is very just slow and boring. The ending is pretty fun and good, but I just think that it's a little bit of a slog at points. And Donnie Wahlberg and his kid, like I don't care about his kid. Then I have Jigsaw, which is better than I remember it being.
That's also where I had
Saw 5. So I have Saw 5 quite a bit higher than you, which is funny because you love Agent Strom.
Yeah, I now that I'm talking, maybe I'll switch 5 and 2. Honestly, maybe I'll put 2 as second list.
Wow.
The issue with 5, and it only slightly improved on the most recent watch, is it's just, I feel like so much of it is just kind of a nothing movie. There's so many flashbacks, and there's some good traps.
Well, that's
in
why
it.
it's hilarious.
It is very funny.
It's just Agent Strom going back and somehow finding out all this past with Hoffman.
Yeah.
It's so much Hoffman and Strom. I can't believe you don't love it.
It is officially, it's my third lowest. I do love it. Like the top 8 here are movies I love. Okay. The bottom 2, I like Saw 2 enough, but so it's really just, it's comparing a lot of movies I really like.
Okay. The top 5.
Okay.
It gets a lot closer for me. These like 5 through 3 are basically tied.
Okay.
And that would be Saw 4 right now, as I have there. Then I have Saw X at 4 and Saw 3 at 3. And those are interchangeable depending on the day and mood I'm in. Then I think Saw 6 is clearly the best sequel. Like, I really don't think it's close.
So
I think it's just the pacing is great. It's got the silliness of the other ones. Like we said, the final 30 minutes is so funny. The shotgun carousel is incredibly well, like just well made and well acted. That's one thing we didn't talk about with Saw X. The performances are very good. It's probably the best acted Saw movie.
Yeah.
Like I would say so.
Overall, I'd say.
Yeah, easily. I think everybody was good, especially the antagonist lady. And then I have the original one still at the top. But man, I just love this franchise now.
So good.
I have not seen Spiral since it was in theaters. I just don't really want to rewatch it at this point.
Yeah, it's
compared to all the other ones.
I'll probably revisit it maybe next time I watch through all of them. But yeah, it's just last time I watched it, I was so bored, and it's so weird because like it has like famous people in it.
Yeah,
like people you would recognize: Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson, the partner guy is in Handmaid's Tale. I don't like other like actors that are in other things, but it's just like a nothing burger movie.
Hold it, I'm so tempted to put Saw 3D, Saw 2.
Do it right now. Definitively.
Oh my gosh, I'm doing it only for entertainment value.
We both switched our second and third.
Incredible.
Lowest.
All right, so again, I have Spiral last, then I guess Saw 2. I'm sorry, Saw 2. It's good enough. I just think it's a little slow. It's not as entertaining to me.
Yeah.
Saw 3D, Jigsaw, Saw 5, Saw 4, Saw X, Saw 3, Saw 6, and Saw.
And reiterating for me, I have Spiral, Saw 2, Saw 5, Jigsaw, Saw 3D, Saw X, Saw 3, Saw 4, Saw 1, and Saw 6.
Yes. Nice. Excellent. Cannot wait to slot 11 in the second spot on that one.
I really hope Kevin's coming back to direct
come on,
11.
Kevin.
Come on.
He seems to like it, man.
Yeah, he's active on social
Kevin,
media.
if you want to
everything.
come on the pod, come on, man. We'd love to have you. We would love to have you. We love your work. We really do. I don't know if many people appreciate it more than we do. It's incredible. All right, we better quit talking about Saw. We've only talked about Saw for like 6 hours the last month. So Holden, let's bring back a segment we didn't do last time for the first time ever. I think last week was the first time we didn't have What Are You Doing? So we better bring it back.
Yeah.
For this episode, Holden. So for our final segment, what are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing?
All right, Jimmy. This week, one of the big things I watched were the Wes Anderson short films on Netflix.
Nice.
There were 4. I haven't watched the 4th one yet, but the first 3 are quite entertaining. They're based on Roald Dahl short stories, and Ray Fiennes plays Roald Dahl. Essentially, he's like a narrator character in all 3 of them. I don't really know why it's not just an anthology film. Like they would make feature length, and I feel like with like him as like a connective tissue, it would work. I don't know. It's very odd.
I mean, they did that with the French Dispatch.
Yeah.
So, I guess it would, since it came out on Netflix, maybe
It's just
that's
like,
why.
It's like weird because you have to like search them up individually.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't have like a collection.
No, I mean maybe there's a tab or something, but yeah, no, you have to like find them. So I don't know.
Tabs. What is this?
But yeah, they're very good. I mentioned to you Benedict Cumberbatch is in 2 of them. The second one he's in I haven't seen yet, but he's really good. He's like perfect for Wes Anderson, and everyone else who's in these. It's kind of like the same 4 or 5 cast members in all of them, and they're all quite good. So yeah, I'd recommend them if you like Wes Anderson. The second one, called The Swan, is like very sad. It's like the saddest thing I think I've ever seen him make, but the other ones are quite fun. So
Nice.
then I also watched the final episode of Black Mirror I hadn't seen yet, called Demon 79, which I quite liked. It's like not Black Mirror. It's like, I think, from what I understand, I can't remember the creator of Black Mirror, but he said this is like kind of a backdoor pilot to make like essentially his own Twilight Zone that isn't bound to technology.
Oh, nice.
He called it Red Mirror. So I don't know why, but it's like this weird horror, like 70s
There's
romp.
blood on it, I guess.
I guess, yeah. But it's this horror like 70s throwback thing, and it has such a fun like vibe to it. It's very funny. I wasn't expecting that. It has quite a good sense of humor, a pretty good ending too. Yeah, like it might. I don't know if it's my favorite of the season. It might be.
Wow.
But quite good. I recommend it if you like Black Mirror. Other shows I've watched, the new Adventure Time show finished this week. I cried. Very good. I think it might just be a mini series based on how it ends. We'll see, but very, very good. Also, the new Futurama season finished this week. It was a bit iffy. Some of it was very good. Some of it was not very good. It was, I'll watch more because I really like Futurama, but it wasn't at its height. So we'll see. I'm curious to see what other people think. I haven't really seen. And then the only other thing I've done is I actually yesterday beat Returnal, and that game is so cathartic to beat. It's so hard, but it feels so good to like if you are into like I'm going to compare it to Dark Souls, and I know that's a cliche. It's literally only similar because it's hard, but if you're into those games where it's like really, it just feels good to get at, like this is perfect for you. It's like, it is very satisfying, and there's so many guns and powers in it. I really, really liked it. And the story is very weird. I think I need to look up a like explanation video.
I was gonna say, is it very like Hideo Kojima? Like, what is happening?
I wouldn't say it's like it's very symbolic in what it does, and there is a lot of story to it. It's just like a lot of it you have to like interpret.
Okay.
So I feel like it is very good from what I understand. It's just like I'm not smart enough for some of this. But yeah, I think next I'm going to play the remaster of Alan Wake. We'll see. I haven't quite decided yet.
When does the second one come out?
October. I think it's like within a week of Spider-Man, so that's unfortunate for that game.
Yeah. Well, Holden, I still have not finished Horizon Forbidden West. Unfortunately, I would like to. But I have been watching The Killing Vote again on Amazon Prime, the Korean show. Very good. It's still going on. Get on the bandwagon before everybody finds out about it, if it happens. But very interesting character, very entertaining, with some really like iconic characters. There's the Superintendent Kim Woo-chan, who's like the main detective guy, is great. Okay. He's very moral and a lot of more ambiguity to him. And then the professor character, who is Kwon Suk-jo, who is awesome as well. They two fantastic performances, and then the supporting characters are a lot of fun too. And it's this, whenever they like do the killing vote, which essentially they're these masked vigilante, not like Batman, but more like the bad guy of Squid Game kind of thing, kind of comes on TV and says, I'm going to kill this person. Like, if you like, we're going to put the Korean, judicial system has failed us. This person who is clearly guilty has been able to get off scot-free for all these crimes. here's everything they've done, determine whether or not they deserve the death penalty, and everybody gets to vote. And they're like, like a little comically, they're like, if you don't want to participate, hit the X in the top left corner. It's like, and they're trying to figure out who this guy is. Guy Tal is his alibi, or not his alibi, but his pseudonym. I don't know what you would say. So they're trying to investigate who it is, and it's like who is it? Like where it's like really hard to figure out who it is. But whenever they do the vote, like the set piece action is very exciting. A little goofy at times, but very exciting and entertaining. It's got some good humor to it. There's levity. There's some intense stuff. Again, and those two kind of central characters are very compelling. So we're about halfway through it. 7 of the episodes are available on Prime. There's going to be a total of 12. And not many people are watching this. So if you want to be like kind of cool hipster, like me, like me.
Yeah, you are. That describes you to a T.
Holden, I think you would enjoy it. So you should watch it. Each episode's 73 minutes too. So it's a long show, but it's good.
House of the Dragon.
Yeah, longer than that. So there we go. That is it for this week on That One Movie Podcast. For What Are You Doing, Holden? Plan for next week.
Yeah, next week is going to be a big week. We're going to have a lot to cover. So we're going to have the finale for Ahsoka, and the next episode of Gen V, and then the premiere of Loki. Which I forgot to mention. I started rewatching Loki too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then for movie, we're going to do The Creator.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
So that's 4 things. We'll see how many of them we get to, but that's the plan.
That's the plan.
We'll see if it happens.
If you want to leave us a request, you can do so by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes or email us at tompodcast@gmail.com.
If you give us a 4-star review, we will laugh at your face.
We will laugh at your face. Or donate to our Patreon.
We will find you to laugh at your face.
Yeah.
So if you want to meet us, I guess, do that.
Yeah.
But if you don't, and you just like a movie request, 5-star review.
But yeah, I think that's it, Jimmy.
All right, sweet. Until next time, adios, pantalones.
Love you.
Game over. They didn't say game over. That was another thing I was going to bring up. Anyway, game over.